noches. Aha, bienvenidos. Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to have you here. We have a very special event. Tenemos una ocasión muy especial donde vamos a leer poesía en inglés y en español. We have a bilingual program tonight. This is part of the Arts and Humanities Committee, the Takoma Park Arts events that include poetry readings, film screenings, concerts, all for free. So tell your friends. Si quieren saber de los eventos, vayan al website. Go to our website to learn about our events. Sign for our newsletter outside in the table. We'd love to have more of you here. Gracias por estar acá. We have 4 fantastic poets tonight. Tenemos 4 poetas fantásticos que representan toda Latinoamérica, desde el bien sur de Latinoamérica hasta el bien norte, New Jersey. We have people representing all of Latin America here, from the very south of Latin America to the Caribbean to the very north of it in New Jersey. Rosie Prohías, who just published a book, her first book. We're very excited to have her here tonight. David, who is a local Takoma Park resident. We're very excited to have him here as well. Another David Lott, and Señor Sodero, bienvenidos. So we're going to have an MC, our very own poet laureate, Taylor Johnson. Nuestro poeta laureado de Takoma Park, Taylor Johnson, va a ser el maestro de ceremonias. Taylor, please take the podium.
Thank you. Good evening, y'all. I'm going to start off by reading a poem, and then I'll introduce Rosie, who will go first, and the speakers will follow. I believe it's alphabetically. Y'all know the order, but I'll introduce them first. I'm going to read a poem called Damascus by the poet Deborah Diggs. Split by the light, wrought golden, one of 1,000 cars, stunned, sun-blind, crawling westward. I remember a day I stopped for an old snapper, as huge as, when embracing ghosts, you round your arms. Who did I think I was to lift him like a pond or ballast from the slosh of whole swamp, tarred as he was, undaunted, that thrashed and hissed at the worst place to try to cross, where the road plunged east, the lumber trucks swept daily down from the blue hills, past winter-ravaged toys blanching by makeshift crosses. An old sea shimmered in the asphalt, spared over the mirage to ancient footpaths. He lunged again and spit, turning his oddly touching head toward the project of the steep embankment. Such were the times, hard-wired the way. Cross here or die, die crossing. All right, now I'll just start with the introductions. Rosie Prohías Driscoll is a Cuban-American educator and poet. The daughter of Cuban exiles, she writes about identity and exile, loss and renewal, grief and grace. Her poems have appeared in many journals, and her debut full-length collection, Poised for Flight, was published last year. She lives in Alexandria and teaches English at Bishop Ireton High School. Welcome, Rosie.
Thank you, Taylor. I'm so tickled to be here with David and David. And of course, I'm nervous. I just lost the other name. And Jorge. I'm so excited to be here and grateful to share these woven word threads of bilingual poetry. So I first became conscious of living and thinking and imagining in dual languages when I was in middle school. So the first poem that I want to share is rooted in that experience. And I'm also dating myself if you ever learned grammar by diagramming sentences. The poem is titled Diagramming Sentences. Sitting upright at her desk, Mrs. Grinnell teaches us to diagram sentences. Knitting needles dance on her lap as she knits a blanket for her baby grandson. Lifting her eyes over thin-rimmed reading glasses, she points one of her needles at me, signaling my turn to approach the chalkboard and dissect the next sentence. I love diagramming sentences. Identifying the subject and predicate of the independent clause, so named, Mrs. Grinnell explains, because it can stand alone as a complete thought. Writing each one neatly on a straight horizontal axis, then dividing them with a short vertical line, placing the subordinate clause on the diagonal beneath the horizontal line, incorporating the fragile dependence of an incomplete thought. After school, I unpack my books in la mesa de la cocina, while abuela brings me my merienda, which I eat slowly so that I can listen closely and decipher whether the same rules of grammar apply to Spanish as to English. Abuela strings together sentences that tell of her life in Cuba, of all that she left behind. La casa del Biltmore, Tía María, the flowers Tío Quino planted in el jardín, el loro de papá, her father's bones, and of all that she and abuelo had planted in el exilio, her nietos playing parcheesi in the Florida room de la casa de la doce, gardenias in glasses on the kitchen sill, natilla con canela en la nevera. Closing my eyes, I diagram her sentences on the backs of my eyelids and watch with wonder as I see the constructions take shape, that loss is always written on the diagonal, always subordinate to grace. So in diagramming sentences at the end, one of the references is to my grandmother telling stories about her father, Joaquin, growing up in Cuba. She grew up in Cienfuegos, and el loro. El loro means parrot, and she was referring to a parrot that my bisabuelo, my great-grandfather Joaquin, took in. He liked to rescue animals and was a part of the family for over 40 years. So this next poem introduces you to both. It's titled Papá del Loro. Joaquin walks through the door, cradling one of many creatures he would bring home, decía Antonia, de quién sabe dónde. A parrot sin plumas, whom he names simply El Loro. Week after week, he feeds the hatchling by hand, sings softly to him, until feathers blossom and throat opens to sound. He teaches El Loro first to say Antonia, then to repeat the names of his 5 children, and the names of each of las criadas. Finally, with a flourish, he dubs himself Papá del Loro. El Loro flaps his wings wildly each night when Papá returns from the distillery, dances happily when Papá invites him to bailar la chambelona, serenades him con el himno nacional de Cuba, perches on his left shoulder after dinner dishes are cleared and the French doors to la terraza flung open so that the family of Yaguasas y la grulla Panchita can gather close for the concerts that Coro y Lula y Aida y Quino play for him, the breeze carrying streams of piano and strings and tenor tones lit by electric lamps and the harmonies orchestrated by las manos de papá. So sadly, when my mother's family left Cuba and came into exile in the US, they had to leave El Loro behind. And so for me, he has always been a poignant symbol of loss. So this poem is about El Loro. It's titled Feathers. After Joaquin dies of heart failure in La Casa de Almendares, El Loro plucks out his plumas one by one, refuses to repeat words or emerge from his cage. Lula patiently nurses him back to feathers, but never again to say Papá del Loro. Some losses are unspeakable, the recollection of presence too acute a reminder of absence. What became of him then when the family fled in a flood of tears and left him behind con familia in Cienfuegos? Was there someone to greet him when he woke from antediluvian dreams and teach him new names? Or did his throat close to the billowing smoke, feathers singed and fallen to the ground? So this next poem is about my great-grandmother, Antonia, Joaquin's wife, helping my abuela Aida, her daughter, to give birth to my aunt. It was a difficult birth. And Antonia continues to visit me and show me how to do hard things. The poem is titled Dar a luz, which means to give birth, but it translates literally as to give to the light. So, dar a luz. When Abuela Aida arrived at the edge of despair, ready to let the child wither inside her womb after 2 days of fruitless labor, Antonia burst into the birthing room, told her daughter to hold on to the cloth she tied to the bed rails and follow her lead until Aida, nearly broken, breathed and pushed the 11-pound baby into the light. Today, Antonia came into my room, this time soft of foot, whispering, "Respira profundo, mija," and keep pushing, and trust that new life will come, even if you think you will break. So the last line of that a luz refers to breaking, which was a nod to another Spanish word for childbirth, parto, which literally means I break. And it's also the root of comparto, which means I share, which intrigued me. So I wrote this poem called Breaking Open the Word. Compartir, to share. I slice it neatly, turning the parts, prefix and root, in the palms of my hands. Com, with, together. Partir, to break. I savor the sweetness of revelation and division. To share is to break with together. This is my body broken for you. I break it open, la parto, again, this time conjugating the root. Parto, verb, I break, noun, childbirth. And I remember, my legs splayed, releasing and receiving the bloodied, glorious cry, "This is my body, broken for you." Then the recoupling, the final conjugal act. Comparto, I break with, for you, and there is birth in the breaking, of body, of bread, of the word. Okay, and these last two poems I'll read were born of a desire to compartir, to share our language and our stories and our heritage with the next generation. So they're written one each for my daughters. So inheritance reflects on the birth of my first daughter. A teeny bit of background. My abuela Aida used to call my abuelo's ears, his ears were very big. And so she called them orejas de torreja, which literally means French toast ears. So that way the beginning of the poem will make sense. It's called Inheritance. Abuela Aida was obsessed with whether her daughters would sprout las orejas de torreja de abuelo César y José Basilio, those ears that induced Sisa to tie a blue ribbon around Tío Raúl's infant head, even if people might think he was a girl, to prevent them from smothering him in his sleep. She gave thanks to God when Mami and Mina each emerged from the womb with ears well proportioned for wearing a proper moño, and again, years later, when we, her nietos, also managed to escape the elephantine curse. So when our first daughter is born, the women of the family ceremoniously swoop down to dissect her baby body. Mami proclaims que la niña tiene las sortijitas pegada a la cabeza like my father, though the strawberry blonde hue of her ringlets belongs to Abuela Rosina. Most importantly, her ears are perfect, tiny caracoles de nácar. Lying in her Moisés, la niña gazes at her father, not yet able to recognize the amused smile taking shape as he strokes the reddish stubble of his beard, while I fix my eyes on hers, wanting to believe it's true, that a little piece of ourselves can live in the precise curve of a fingernail bed or in the pupil of the bluest eye. And I'll leave you with Word Blossoms, which recalls a conversation with my second daughter. My daughter chafes at checking boxes, as if identity could be bound by lines on a pre-printed form. Her 7th grade self is faced with the false choice of Hispanic or white. Sighing, she chooses the latter, saying she doesn't really feel Hispanic or even speak much Spanish. I wilt at that moment, one of many, when we discover that our children live beyond the plots we prepare for them. Now grown, she tells me there are words that come to her only in Spanish. Moco, mantilla, cariñito. I smile at the odd assortment and revel in the gentle rustle of leaves on branches of trees planted long ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosie. Our next poet is David Alberto Fernández, a local poet born in South Florida whose work has been published in the United States and abroad for more than 2 decades. His latest poetry will appear in the March 2023 issues of Beltway Quarterly and the Sligo Journal. Welcome, David.
No estoy aquí, canción de inmigrante. I am not here, immigrant song. No estoy aquí a rimar la confusión que ya conoces. I'm not here to rhyme the confusion that you already know. Ni estoy aquí a cantar platitudes del mundo duro, nor am I here to sing the platitudes of a hard world. Ni estoy aquí para discutir, fajar, emborracharme, nor am I here to argue with you, or to fight, or to get drunk, ni para robar tu ánimo con falsas sonrisas blancas, nor to rob your soul with some false white smiles, ni limpiar sangre de tus pisos brillantes antes de cenar, nor to clean the blood off your shiny floors before dinner time, ni ser objeto de sus burlas, el tema de sus programas de televisión, nor be an object of your jokes, the topics of your television programs, ni a vender sus drogas o estafarte, nor to sell your drugs or to screw you over, ni a matarte, no veni vidi vici, ni a conquistar, nor to kill you, no veni vidi vici, nor to conquer you, o reconquistarte, ni a sermonearte en voz superfluo, or to reconquer you, nor to sermonize you in a voice superfluous. Al contrario, traigo agua dulce a apagar tu sed. On the contrary, I bring you some sweet water to quench your thirst. Vengo con frutas para endulcear tu lengua triste. I come with fruits to sweeten up your sad tongue. No para vender ni para comprar, sino regalar. Not to sell nor to buy anything, instead, to give. Vengo a estar calmamente en sombra fuera de tu luz. I come to be calmly in the shade outside of your light. En tormenta con paraguas ridículo. In a storm with a ridiculous umbrella. Con espacio, with space. No a despertarte, nada más a preguntarte si puedes mover. Not to wake you up, only to ask you if you can move. Mover un poco en la cama tan grande porque estás roncando. Move a little on that very large bed because you're snoring. Vengo con fuego para tus lomos, con una mente despejándolos. I come with fire for your loins, with a mind freeing them. Vengo a bailar, pero no con tu esposa, sino contigo. I come to dance, but not with your wife, instead with you. Vengo con buenas noticias, sonrisas, sí, caricias. I come with good news, with smiles, and yes, with caresses. Vengo yo aquí serio, nada más para compartir esto. I come here seriously, only to give you this. Gracias, thank you. So, hi everybody, I'm David. I'm from Takoma. I've lived here for over 20 years. If I had to pick a word to describe Takoma Park, okay, it is radiante. And if it's a diverse, robust, incredible community. And if I had to put it into words, I'd put it into words like this. Takoma radiante, radiant Takoma. Por la calle es un placer ver valor intrínseco. Down the street, it's a pleasure to see intrinsic value. Semillas que brotan, hierbas sin cortar, aves silvestres comiendo, seeds that sprout, lawns uncut, wild birds feeding. Niños jugando, todos ahí, presente. Kids at play, totally present. Orgullo en la piel humana, invisible a las miradas tóxicas. Pride in human skin, invisible to toxic gazes. Completo en sí mismo, complete in itself. Mosaico de piedras espejadas, ya bien alumbradas. Mirrored mosaic of shining stones, reflejándose, brillantes sobre sí mismas. Shining back bright upon themselves. Gracias, thank you. This one is for my mom, who has been long gone way too long, and has been sorely missed, a presence that we've missed for over 20 years. Ay, mi Teresa, oh, my Teresa. Ay, mi Teresa, trabajabas duro por ellos como querías. Oh, my Teresa, you worked hard for them like you wanted to. Esperándote como me esperabas en banco sucio, waiting for you there as you waited for me on a dirty bench, dentro del metro, con gafas de sol, en tu profundo dolor, inside the metro with your sunglasses in the deepest pain. Perdóname ya por la sequía, por mi malo retraso. Forgive me now for the drought, for my mean delay. 23 años después, regresaron todas las mariposas. 23 years later, all the butterflies came back. Thank you. This one is for the Earth, our planet that we're constantly denigrating and destroying. It's called Dale 100 años, give it 100 years. Dale 100 años, dice la parra verde, extendiéndose. Give it 100 years, says the green vine, extending itself. Cercas pudrirán, colapsarán, caerán, pero creamos nuestros soportes solo en empujarnos hasta arriba. Fences will rot, collapse, and fall, but we make our own support just by pushing up. Dale 100 años, el agua subirá, pero sí flotamos. Give it 100 years, the water will rise, but we can float. Dale 100 años, cuando nos ciegas fuego, hojas quemarán, pero los troncos y raíces quedarán muy bien indemnes. Give it 100 years, when fire comes, leaves burn, but our trunks and our roots will remain unscathed. Un nuevo siglo traerá otros venenos humanos, cortes profundos, graves. A new century brings human poisons, deep cuts. Aún en sabiéndolo, siempre crecemos. Still in knowing, we grow. 100 años prontos, con tantos inicios y sus finales, 100 quick years with many starts and endings. Mientras nosotros colgamos suaves aquí, perseverantes, while we just hang here smoothly, abiding. Con 10 décadas breves, todo cambiará, se renovará. With 10 short decades, all will change, all will be renewed. Zarcillos verdes, uniendo todas cosas, subsumiéndolas. Green tendrils, uniting and subsuming all things. Thank you. This one is for our society, which seems really fraught as of late. Nuestros papeles, our roles. La cariñosa madre, hijo errante, niña malvada. The loving mother, the wayward son, the mean girl. La obediente hija, padre ausente, el doctor rico. The dutiful daughter, the absent father, the rich doctor. El vagabundo borracho, la insulsa falsa rubia. The drunken bum, the fake vapid blonde. Adolescente jusco, el prisionero inocente. The sullen teenager, the innocent prisoner. Una ramera con corazón de oro, empresario avaricioso. A whore with a heart of gold, a greedy businessman. El artista hambriente, el hombre santo, the starving artist, the holy man, la fiel amante rechazada, inmigrante perezoso, the loyal rejected lover, the lazy immigrant, el policía deshonesto, el cura siempre tentado, the dishonest cop, the tempted priest, el matón callejero, la solterona juguete sexual, the violent street thug, the spinster, the young boy toy, el político corrupto, ladrón lleno de honor, the corrupt politician, the honorable thief. En aprendiendo de hacer teatro con estos papeles, poblamos en sí un viejo mundo que no acaba bien. Learning to play act, we populate an old world, one that does not end well. Thank you. I'm going to jump to one I was going to read one about the bullet that we dodged on November of 2020, with the election of 2020, but I'll skip that one, and I'll go to this one, which is another bullet that we dodged, and we continue to dodge, and we'll dedicate it to Jamie Raskin. Insurrección del Capitolio, Capitol Insurrection. Cuando acaban tormentas, after rainstorms, las hormigas polulan, the ants swarm, en las aceras que no construyeron, on sidewalks that they did not build, y calles que no son dueños de, and streets they do not own, abruptamente moviendo en círculos, moving abruptly in circles, escondiendo sus larvas, hiding larva, con temor de estar expuestos, dreading exposure. That's it. So I'll read two more. This one is for the past. This is a short one. Silencio viejo, old quiet. La parte peor de vivir largo tiempo, un silencio insoportable. The worst part of living long, an excruciating silence. De personas que hace tiempo se fueron, from people long gone. Voces queridas relegados a ecos, beloved voices relegated to echoes, y sueños febriles, and feverish dreams. Thank you. It's kind of bad because you never know when I end, and so I have to say thank you, and then you clap, and it's like, oh, shit. Maybe there's a way to emphasize it differently, and you'd know. I want to thank Indran and Sarah at Beltway Poetry Quarterly for putting out some of my latest stuff, along with David at the Sligo Journal. Appreciate it. Here's the last one. This one is for the future. And coincidentally, Rosie, you speak of compartir. We come from a similar background, so it's funny. Some of the themes are the same. This one's called Boomer X Milenario. Boomer X Millennial. And you'll see Rosie with the thing of parteras, okay? La generación que solo nos importa es de parteras. The only generation that matters for us is that of midwives, facilitando en el nacimiento de lo nuevo, facilitating in the birth of the new, de cuerpos maduros, from ripened bodies, ayudando, consolando, aiding, consoling, con ojos puestos en el proceso tan preciado, with eyes on the precious process de lo que viene al siguiente, of that which comes next. So, thank you.
Thank you, David. Our next poet is David Lott. David Lott is the associate editor of Potomac Review, and poetry editor of the Sligo Journal, both supported by Montgomery College, where he has taught language and literature since 1992. His poetry has appeared or will be forthcoming in Beltway Quarterly Review, Train River, and his bilingual collection, New to Guayama. Welcome, David.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the intro. Thank you to Brendan as well. Thanks to Takoma Arts. Thank you for my fellow poets. Thanks for coming tonight. Gracias por venir. So my background is not originally through Spanish, the Spanish language, nor any Spanish-speaking culture. My wife and I taught in Spain for several years, and so when I had the opportunity to take a sabbatical a number of years ago, we decided to introduce our children to a Spanish-speaking culture. And so we moved for 6 months to Puerto Rico, to a small town called Guayama. And even though our purpose was to introduce our kids to a new culture, to a different language, to try to open their eyes to new ideas, every day I felt myself opened up, my eyes opened to new ideas, to new experiences. And eventually I wrote poems about it. And I wrote this small book called New to Guayama. And it's been translated by a friend of mine named Angel Tuninetti. So it's called New to Guayama, but it's also called Nuevos en Guayama. And so what I'd like to do is read first, these are short poems. I should say also that part of my influence in this project is through a poet named David Hernandez, who at one time was known as the unofficial poet laureate of Chicago. Well, he's from a small town. Originally, he was from a small town in Puerto Rico. So I sort of fancied myself as doing the reverse David Hernandez by being from an urban area on the mainland to going to a small town in Puerto Rico. And so a lot of my poems are short like his and designed, frankly, for my students. Many of my students do not have English as a first language, so the experience of being newcomers in a place is something that I'm trying to work with as well in my poetry in this collection. The first two poems are about fruit. I never had the experience before living in Puerto Rico of being in a place where in such close proximity you had fresh fruit growing in the neighboring areas, so I couldn't stop writing about it. So these first two are about fruit. The first in English, and then I'll read the Spanish translation. This is called The Native Grapefruit. The native grapefruit, La Toronja, is never seedless here. Her woody children are always on hand and running down the hand, even of the pencil-pushing poet who would honor her. She prefers to gush her own praises and gag the impostor's second-hand accounts. El cítrico nativo, la toronja, aquí siempre tiene semillas. Sus hijas leñosas están siempre a mano y bajando por la mano del poeta aficionado que quiere honrarla. Ella prefiere resumar sus propios elogios y enmudecer los fastos de segunda mano del impostor. Thank you. See, it's easy for me because you know the end because you heard the one in English, so I don't have to, yeah. The second fruit that I write about is in Spanish carambola. In English, it's the star fruit. And where we live, we rented a house, and it had this very nice courtyard, and there was a star fruit tree in the courtyard. So this was an astounding thing to me, having grown up in suburban New Jersey, to see a star fruit tree in my backyard. Carambola. The haiku master Basho named himself after the word for banana tree. It's true. But if he had seen the star fruit tree in this Guayaman courtyard, we might know him today as Carambola. As every star is a sun in potential, every ripe star fruit is a sun in miniature, and each Carambola tree a little daytime constellation. Basho el maestro de los haiku, eligió como nombre la palabra banano. Esto es verdad. Pero si hubiera visto el árbol de carambolas en el patio guayamés, lo conoceríamos como carambola. Si cada estrella es un sol en potencia, cada carambola madura es un sol en miniatura y cada árbol una pequeña constelación diurna. Thank you. One of the, I would say, on the fruit side of things, there were always great, wonderful discoveries. On the darker side of things, I found myself at times kind of paranoid about being the outsider and definitely being the palest skinned guy in town. And I was very self-conscious. I didn't need to be. It was pretty much all in my own head, at least in this small town. But this next poem is related to these kinds of thoughts. The name of the poem is What Must the Barber Be Thinking? What must the barber be thinking as he shaves your Anglo neck that hasn't seen sunlight in over a month? Is it actually pale wax under there? Or is El Norteamericano kin to that chubby guy from the cookie ads, the boy made out of dough? Or has he been going out only after dark, night after night, to give his lily-white epidermis the rich, bright glow of the moon? Has a town known for its brujos finally found its Dracula? But the razor stays on the surface, mere metal in the machine of the shop, where you're just another in a line of guys getting a shave and a haircut. Thank you. ¿Qué pensará el barbero? ¿Qué pensará el barbero mientras afeita tu cuello anglo que no ha visto la luz del sol en más de un mes? ¿Es realmente pálida cera lo que hay aquí abajo? ¿O es el norteamericano pariente del gordito del anuncio de galletas, el chico hecho de masa? ¿O ha estado saliendo solo en la oscuridad, noche tras noche, para darle a su blancuzca epidermis el rico resplandor brillante de la luna? Ha encontrado este pueblo de brujos finalmente su Drácula. Pero la navaja se queda en la superficie, un metal más de la máquina de la fábrica, donde solo eres uno más, en una hilera de hombres, esperando una afeitada y un corte de pelo. Thank you. One of the joys of being in this small town was learning of a place that the locals called Tito's, and for a while I didn't know where Tito's was, and the reason was because it didn't have any name anywhere, and often it was an establishment that was closed. I stumbled upon it one time, and it's the local bar, but not in the sense that I knew bars to have a schedule and an individual sort of in charge. Well, you'll get the flavor of it. This is called Tito's. Tito's, the neighborhood watering hole, has no name posted outside or in, and nobody in the one-room place is ever named Tito. Plus, there are no posted hours, and much of the time, it's not open. Nowhere are there fancy drinks, just cold medalla beer or local rum, or rum in the mixer on hand, often served not by a bartender, but by the customers themselves, who are almost always not women. There's a TV, but it gets no special stations. In fact, only one channel, as long as the tinfoil stays on the antenna, and there's no air conditioning, just a small fan. Yet from all the nothings, a something, a skeleton of a bar giving life to the evening. Thank you. And in Spanish, lo de Tito, el abrevadero del barrio no tiene nombre, ni dentro ni fuera, y nadie nunca en el bar de un solo cuarto se llama Tito, y no tiene cartel con los horarios, y la mayor parte del tiempo no está abierto. No hay tragos sofisticados, tan solo fría cerveza medalla o ron local o ron con algún mixer, servido no por un camarero, sino por los mismos parroquianos, que casi nunca son mujeres. Hay una tele sin canales especiales, de hecho un solo canal, siempre y cuando el papel de aluminio esté en la antena, y no hay aire acondicionado, solo un pequeño ventilador. Pero a pesar de las carencias, algo. El esqueleto de un bar dando vida a la noche. Trying to figure out how I'm doing for time. Brendan, should I be shutting up at this point? You're okay? He says, go for it. Terrible thing to tell a poet, go for it. I'm going to read two more. And this, too, has to do with just like the amount of sun that I wasn't prepared for. You can do your research. You can do all the research you want on paper. You have no idea how powerful the sun is and how different the rain is. This tries to capture some of that. This is called One Day It Rains. One day it rains, not the usual all at once tropical sky letting, followed soon by sun, and maybe a rainbow or a double rainbow, but instead a nearly all-day, steady, unremarkable, gray, low-volume rain, like the kind you know best from home. And to your surprise, it stirs you to walk all over town, umbrellaless, refreshed, free, nostalgic, every bland raindrop a liquid shred of ticker tape, a token of celebration for the temporary unseating of the island's true governor. Un día llueve, no lo habitual, el diluvio tropical repentino, seguido enseguida por el sol y quizá un arco iris simple o doble, pero en cambio todo el día persistente, indefinida, gris, ligera, lluvia, como la que conoces en casa, y sorpresivamente te lleva a vagar por el pueblo, sin paraguas, refrescado, libre, nostálgico. Cada gota blanda, fragmentos líquidos de un mensaje, una muestra de celebración por el desplazamiento temporario del verdadero gobernador de la isla. Thank you. Now, the last one is, I would say, a tribute to the guys that I would see with some frequency at Tito's. And it's almost all in Spanish. The English version is almost all in Spanish. So if you're waiting for the Spanish version, don't, because most of it is already in the English version. This poem is called Papo. Papo, Pipo, Pupo, Nino, Nano, Nono, Kiko, Kuko, Mako, Tito, Tete, Ito, Tito, Yayo, Yeyo, Yiye, Yiyo. Todos ellos hombres, hechos y derechos. I turned to the Spanish one. I couldn't figure it out. I'm going to do that one more time. Forgive me. I'm going to do that one more time. Sorry. Papo, pipo, pupo, nino, nano, nono, kiko, kuko, mako, tito, tite, ito, tete, yayo, yeyo, yiyo, yiye. These are all grown men. Sorry about that. Thanks, folks. Appreciate it.
That was great. Thank you, David. All right, our final poet is Jorge Fernando Sodero, who was born in Argentina and completed medical studies at the National University of Cordoba before moving to the D.C. area. He began writing poetry after a unique experience of solitude in Antarctica. Couldn't say that word. His poetry has been published in 2 anthologies, and he participates in poetry readings and cultural activities of the local Latin American community. Welcome, Jorge.
Hello. Okay, so I will start with a sonnet. Well, thank you very much. It sounds better with your voice. So the first one is in this sonnet. I know this displays moments and feelings as a way to say hello to the place I was born. So called reunions, meetings. Here where the distances are always greeting to the Argentine good morning. Here where the calm looks are seen of dawn next to the third river. Here where my breath joined with the heartbeat of being born. Here where my past could reach and be over there of my future. This moment and its answers. The weather sense that it is always September, like our plaza and a fountain. The return of a teenage love, smiling with uniforms and overalls, is a practice of our identity. Reuniones, aquí donde las distancias son siempre saludos a los buenos días argentinos. Aquí donde se ven miradas tranquilas del amanecer junto al río Tercero. Aquí donde mi respiración se une con los latidos de haber nacido. Aquí donde mi pasado podría llegar y ser el allá de mi futuro. Este instante y sus respuestas, que el tiempo lo intuye y es siempre septiembre, como nuestra plaza y una fuente. El retorno de un adolescente amor, sonriente, luciendo uniformes y guardapolvos. Es una práctica a nuestra identidad. I'm going to... this is also a sonnet. It was written here, and it was inspired from the Potomac. I love rivers. Well, the first part of this sonnet brings the emotion and is described of the fluid of visual and sound synchronizing the past in that moment. How much light in those raindrops, how much shine in that gray sunset rescue your voice and our presence with the magic from the past as being moments. Cuánta luz en aquellas gotas de lluvia, cuánto brillo en aquel atardecer gris rescataron tu voz y nuestra presencia con magia de un pasado al ser instantes. I could feel that the rose bower when the skin of your face twinkled, suddenly continuous stop, reflecting your memories and melodies. Pude sentir esa flor enramada cuando tu piel de tu rostro sonreía. De repente el continuar se detuvo, reflejando tus recuerdos en melodías. how grateful the river with its strengths, how much flow in your experiences, being the witness, forced me to be reborn. Cuánto agradecía el río con su fuerza, perdón. Cuánto fluir en tu esa experiencia al ser el testigo obligado de renacer. Ya no existe la energía de silenciar atardeceres. Mis latidos, tu sonrisa, en aquel acuerdo obligado, alumbran nuestros juegos del próximo encuentro. There is no longer the energy of silent sunset, my heart beats and your smile. In that forced agreement will illuminate our games of the next meeting. It's kind of cool. Well, I don't have so many. So I brought from something called The Ritual of Drinking a Mate. It's a poem, which is something very, very unique. Actually, it's from South America. It's also known as cimarrón, you know. It's a traditional South American caffeine-rich infused herbal drink. It's made by soaking dry leaf of the yerba mate in hot water and traditionally served with a metal straw, bombilla, in a container typically made from a calabash, also called mate, but also in some areas made from a cattle horns, wampa. Today, mate is sold commercially as yerba mate in tea bags and as a bottle as tea. Okay, so the ritual of drinking a mate. Volcano of herbs in dark caves, bottles up in the time of a mate. A bitter taste of prayers and pampas, the intimate experience of hope is born. The warmth of its silver bulb, the roar of the nectar that spreads with guttural melodies of pleasure, numb the tremor of the green lava. Drinks and flavors repeat and synchronize the subjective dialogue of friendship. Our inner being is flourishing with hugs and tears of freedom. We could stop doing many things, but never forget your meeting and welcomes. The offering of our mateadas are always desires of good adventure. In Spanish is the ritual de beber un mate, volcán de hierbas en oscuras cuevas, enfrascadas en el tiempo de un mate. Un sabor amargo de praderas y pampas nace en la experiencia íntima de la esperanza. La calidad de su bombilla de plata, el rugido del néctar que avanza con melodías guturales de placer, adormece el temblor de la verde lava. Tragos y sabores repiten y sincronizan el subjetivo diálogo de amistad. Nuestro ser interno está floreciendo con abrazos y lágrimas de libertad. Podríamos dejar de hacer muchas cosas, pero jamás olvidar tus reuniones y bienvenidas. Las ofrendas propias de nuestras mateadas son siempre búsqueda de la buena aventura. Okay, so I will bring, one of, I think is one of my experiences that keep me going. I started in the winter 1982. I was chosen to accompany an expedition to an established Argentinian base in the Antarctica. My duty was a doctor in charge of the medical care of the unit. At that point, I really realized the impact that this decision was to have in my world view and the direction in which my life could take. Just to make you a little aware of the Antarctic. I don't know, but from here to South Pole, it's like 9,800 miles. And, I was located, it's like 700 kilometers from the South Pole, and the northeast coast of the Berkner Island is the southest it was the southernmost point occupied by an Argentinian population at that time. Due to the rigorous climate of the location, the bikes were submerged. This is one of the most inaccessible places on Earth, with temperatures rising from 50 degrees below zero, with a very rigorous climate, and where the polar night lasts 4 months. We were, isolated for 1 year, and the only communication with the outer world was just for radio communication. What I'm telling this, so you can understand a little bit my feelings when I wrote this poems. The first one I titled November 11, 1983. Showing something inside me recharge my soul, feeling like going back to get part of my experience from those faraway places, so far away. How many miles? So many miles. Is it that is so far that is no far? Projecting my present life in that experience. Why today? Because it is today. And tomorrow will be going its way. How important were the dreams that night, thinking me, my inner equilibrium was fed by memories. Expressing my body in those sleeping hours, it is possible, but I could explain it with hundreds of meanings, but I need one. I need just one to suit this moment. And the last one, I think, is very short, and I always read it so to understand something about myself. The title is November 28, 1983. Here, in this place, we are closer to the stars than to the continent. Here we are, where God and man are not ideas, but experiences.
Thank you so much, Jorge. Thanks to all the poets. Jorge was our final poet. Hope y'all have a good evening. Please buy these poets' books. Support them any way that they offer that. Poetry is important. Thank y'all for being here. Have a good evening.